Caution, don't buy a turntable in 2026 until you know this. Stick around. Hi, I'm Bob, and you, my friends, are back in the United States of Analog. How you doing out there? I'm doing good. Thanks for asking, and please let me know what country, what city, what neighborhood you're watching from. Always interesting. And you know what? Why not take the time right now to like and subscribe if you already enjoy my content. It's time to make that commitment, I think. It really helps the channel to grow. So thank you very much. Today we're going to talk about a lot of the mistakes that are made and a lot of the myths that are believed in turntables, vinyl, things like that. The analog world. Like anything else, politics, news, we get into feedback loops. Just by being on YouTube, you're automatically being fed things that it thinks that you like. So you may be getting some misinformation, not just about the world, but about audio as well. And so I want to help you navigate through some of these common mistakes that beginners make for sure, and even some of us people that have been doing it for a while make. I know I'm guilty of a lot of mistakes. If I can help you avoid even one of these mistakes, 1 out of 10, I think I've done my job. So we'll go through those 10 things. Along the way, I'll show you some of my personal turntable collection. So this topic is funny to me, I guess, in a way, because I did a video on an adjacent topic about 1.5 years ago, and it's been doing pretty good. I mean, it still gets views, and last week someone saw it, a guy saw it, and he wrote to me in the comments, and he said,
"Oh, Bob, you know, you're making this turntable thing harder than it is. It's not that hard."
And I'm like, dude, you know, I don't remember what my response to that was. It was probably, dude. But somehow that video has managed to get 250,000 views since I put it up. So it must resonate with someone. Someone must have gotten something out of it. And I think you're going to get something out of this video. So let's get to it right now. 10 common mistakes that you need to avoid before you buy your first turntable, or maybe before you upgrade to a more substantial turntable. This is for beginners and veterans alike. Number 1, thinking that vinyl is plug and play. It is not a toaster. You don't put the bread in and then press the button. There's a lot of things to consider. Yeah, it's going to vary from turntable to turntable, and it's going to vary based on how much you kind of want to get into this. But it is certainly not a plug-and-play device. There are a lot of adjustments that need to be made or can be made. Some people don't make those adjustments, and then they wonder why their records don't sound great. But you'll need to deal with tracking force and maybe anti-skate, making sure that the turntable is level. Then you might have to get into some gear selection. What kind of speakers would be right? What kind of phono pre would be right for the turntable I have or the sound that I want? So I would just say if you're looking for like appliance behavior in a machine, then get an iron. But if you want to have fun, get a turntable. Number 2 is underestimating vinyl hygiene. What is vinyl hygiene? Well, you wash your body, you wash your car. Every once in a while you get out a power washer and wash your house. But you're going to also have to clean your turntable and your records. It's just a necessity to get the best sound. Remember that dust equals noise, and a dirty stylus equals distortion. And neither of those two things is good. You've got to clean your stylus. You've got to clean your records, sometimes before and after. If you're like me, you're going to want to clean your turntable. I dust the top of the tone arm. I dust the platter mat. I dust the plinth. I'm just always dusting. I have a little cosmetic brush. Well, it's a big cosmetic brush that I got at Ulta or something like that, you know, where my wife shops. And this is great. I clean all kinds of things with this. I feel like I'm doing the most good. I feel like I'm getting the best performance out of the vinyl when everything is clean and running right. Mistake number 3 is believing that Bluetooth equals analog magic. It very rarely does. You know, we talked about appliances. Bluetooth is kind of one of those things that's more of a convenience than anything. And I know that Bluetooth and iPhones are the delivery system for 95% of the people. It's their delivery system for music, and I understand that. It's all about convenience. The world moves so fast, and a lot of people don't want more stress in their life, and sometimes playing vinyl and having a turntable can be stressful. I know that guy's going to comment again, "Bob, it's not that difficult." I know, but some people don't want to engage in this. Just by being an audiophile, just by watching this video, you're already in a very small segment of the planet that even cares about this stuff. And I commend you for wanting to know this information and for wanting to get into this hobby. I mean, that makes us brothers, or brother and sister, or whatever, however you want to phrase it. But yeah, most people don't care. But one thing's for sure, Bluetooth will never equal vinyl at its best. It's rarely the best sound path, and the math doesn't work out because of the compression and everything that Bluetooth has. Out on the patio, poolside, Bluetooth, have at it. Mistake number 4 is blaming the cartridge first for poor sound. Kind of human nature. I think there's a couple reasons why this happens. Number 1, the cartridge is probably the most important, add-on to the turntable. Well, there's no music without it. I shouldn't even call it an add-on. And number 2, it's just human nature to want something new. If you're like me, you watch a lot of videos about cartridges, and you're interested in the differences between moving magnet, moving coil, different stylus shapes. You might be on a fast track to get a new cartridge unnecessarily. It may be something else in your system that's to blame. So I would recommend, before you spend some of those fresh dollar bills on a new cartridge, just make sure that everything is set on your turntable, everything is up and running correctly, you have the right phono stage. Maybe it's sounding poor because you've got moving magnet selected instead of moving coil on your phono preamp. Little simple mistakes like that happen all the time. Do your due diligence, do your research, and then you can know the joy of buying a new cartridge. And remember, you've heard it here first, upgrades don't fix ignorance. The number 5 mistake is ignoring the hidden costs. I can't tell you how many times I've run into somebody and they bought a turntable, they spent their $300 or $400 on a budget turntable, and not setting aside any budget for the speakers, the amplifier, the phono preamp, or anything else they might need to actually make the music. Don't fall into that trap. There's more to this game than just the turntable. They used to be called record players because they had, and some still do, speakers in the bass, and the machine itself, the turntable and the speakers all in one box, would play the music, and they called that a record player. Or maybe you had a Grundig console. That was a record player too, because it had the speakers and the amplification built in. But most modern day turntables don't have amplification and speakers built in. You're going to need to add those things to enjoy the music that you love. So budget for that. Budget for things like anti-static sleeves, for clear protection for the beautiful artwork on those album covers, brushes, record cleaners. It's up to you how deep and how far you want to go, so budget accordingly. Mistake number 6, putting the turntable in the wrong place. I harp on this all the time. Make sure your turntable is level. If it's not level, it might affect the tracking. It might affect the anti-skate. It just makes sense. It needs to be perfectly level, and it's not hard to do. You probably have things in your garage that'll help you achieve that. Other things, don't put your turntable near, or definitely not on, speakers or subwoofers. I mean, that just makes sense. Put your turntable somewhere where it's easily accessible if you can. You don't want to have to open doors, get into a cabinet, crouch down, put stuff in, if you can avoid it. And I know sometimes, because of the spouse situation, you're going to have to hide your gear, your turntable or whatever. But whenever possible, keep it out in the open and keep it readily available and easy to play. The easier it is to play, the more you're going to play it. So place it well. The conditions that you put your turntable in is even more important than some of the features in the brand itself. Mistake number 7 is expecting used records to sound like new. Now, sometimes they might. I can think of some examples where they might. You might have gone to a used store or flea market or something and found a first pressing that may have had a little bit of noise and some light scratching, but ultimately that was the best pressing, like a Led Zeppelin 2 hot cut or something like that. In that case, you found gold, but that's very rare. Used records obviously can be dirty. They could have been in floods. You'll see a lot of flood damage on the bottoms of a lot of album covers when you go to flea markets and used stores. I mean, it's just something that happens. A lot of people store their records on the floor. I don't recommend it for that very reason. But while finding an oldie but goodie in a thrift store can be very rewarding, sometimes you're also rewarded with a lot of noise and dirt and scratches, and even a record that to your eye looks pristine. You just can't see down into the grooves. And if your record store will throw it on a turntable and let you hear it. That helps sometimes, but they don't exactly have the highest of fi at a lot of record stores. But if you buy used, you're taking your chances. That's all I'm saying. Mistake number 8 is actually not understanding that the room, the environment, is more important than the equipment itself. Playing a $20,000 pair of speakers in a really poorly or untreated room is not going to give you really super good results. Now, I'm not suggesting that you spend a lot of money on professional sound conditioning or whatever, sound treatment for your room, but you know, if it's too bright, throw in some pillows, throw in a rug. Take down some of the metal and glass picture frames that may be decorating that room and put up, I don't know what you could put up, a spirit catcher or something. I don't even know what that is. I just said it. So yeah, a good turntable playing music in a bad room is probably going to equal bad sound. Whereas a budget turntable in a really good room could result in some pretty good sound. It's a lot, I know. Big mistake. Number 9, chasing perfection instead of fun. This is not a lab test, folks. I'm sorry, it's just not. Again, just like the room, all things are not created equal. A good song played on a lousy system at the end of the day is still a good song, right? It didn't change the lyrics. It didn't change the emotion, the melody, and all that. It didn't enhance it necessarily, but it hurt it. A good song is always going to be a good song. But a lousy recording on a really great turntable isn't probably going to get much better. In fact, the better turntable, the better cartridge might actually expose more of those faults. So you have to be careful. It's not all equal. Nothing in this hobby is as it seems. Just remember, it's not a lab test. Enjoy the healing powers of music. And number 10, I think it's a mistake when you let a YouTuber tell you what to buy. Okay, now YouTubers have all kinds of reasons for doing what they do. Some are getting paid, some aren't. I don't bring you any equipment that doesn't have at least partial intrinsic value. In other words, if I get some gear in and the bad outweighs the good, I write a letter to the manufacturer and I say, send me a shipping label. I can't do a video on it. It's not fair to you, I don't think, and I don't really want to do a hit piece. I don't want to be that kind of person. So please understand, if most of my reviews are positive, it's because I think they have more good qualities than bad qualities and may be of interest to you. I invite you to watch a series of videos on any particular product. I encourage you to dig deeper. A lot of resources and a lot of great information here on YouTube, but mix it up a little bit and take it all with a grain of salt. Trust your ears, your habits, your lifestyle. Let that guide you in your decision. So there you go. Those are the 10 main mistakes I think you can make when you start out with turntables and vinyl, or maybe when you're upgrading to maybe your first quote-unquote, big boy turntable. These are some of the things to consider. It's all really up to you how far you want to go. I don't want to judge your budget. I don't want to judge your choices. It's totally up to you, and that's part of the fun. And just know that there's always room for expansion. If you get something that doesn't work, you're not necessarily always going to be stuck with that. Just enjoy the music while you can, and when you can upgrade, go ahead and upgrade. And if I were you, I would upgrade to another video right now.
Because you're in the feedback loop, and the
geniuses at YouTube have already picked another video for you to watch, and it's gonna appear here at any second, and when it does, it would do my heart good if you clicked on it. Thank you very much for being here in United States of Analog. We'll see you next time. Hope you enjoy your turntable and your vinyl. Cheers.